Brixton, home to the Afro-Caribbean community, many African. Brixton was a place where people came and found shelter post-Windrush era, and furthermore, Brixton has changed now. Ethnic cleansing, social cleansing, racism has become more covert and insidious, thrown under this false notion of regeneration. Prime example, keep ruining our super community of traders. This used to be Brixton Pillars. Now, Brixton Arches, now it's all changed. How you doing, Queen?
I'm fine, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Basically, what I want to do, I'm doing a little documentary for my academia. I want to find out about your story. I want to find out about your store, where you've come from, and what does the term gentrification mean to you, and where do you see you as a store holder in Brixton in a couple of years' time?
First of all, I've been coming to Brixton since '77. Even though I hadn't done any business, I don't live in Brixton, and I haven't done any business in Brixton, but I've been in Brixton on and off since '77. I used to help in a bookshop called Timbuktu Books. I don't know if you...
Never heard of it.
Okay. It used to be where the Black Archive, Cultural Archive used to be. Not the new building, the old building. It used to be on that road, Atlantic Road. I used to help a brother called Ajani. He started it, and I started at Mark Hugh from Ajani, and I started doing my store in 91, 92 in Battersea markets, and then I moved to various markets, you know, Shepherd's Bush, Labon Grove. Anyway, I've come back to Brixton because we are lacking in terms of our educational upliftment. There's no more bookshops in Brixton anymore. We used to have at least 4 or 5 different bookshops in Brixton. We don't have that anymore because of gentrification. You know, a lot of our people, they cannot afford to live in Brixton anymore. I remember when I used to come in the 70s, you could play a game called Spot the Whites. Now you have to play a game of Spot the Blacks because you can't see them anymore. They've all kind of moved us out. Gradually they're moving us out, and they're still doing it in order to bump up the price, to make the place more Eurocentric looking. And that goes for the shops as well. All the shops, Rail Track own this shop. They're knocking all the shops down, and they're going to regenerate the shop, and then the price is going to go up. People like me, I would love to have a shop on this road because I'm well known on this road, but I can't afford to have a shop on this road because it'll be well out of my reach. Even if I'm sharing with somebody, which was another idea we had, that okay, if we can't afford it on our own, we will share the cost. But we can't, because if they're asking something like 25,000 upwards a year, you know, and if you don't make that kind of return, there's no way we could do that. So my only choice right now is just to do the market. They've got all kind of eatery, kind of, you know, you eat. That's what you do here in Britain now. You know, there's no community environment. There's no community feeling anymore in Brixton.
As a person and as a shopkeeper?
I've been here since 2008. The gentrification, a lot of changes happens. A lot of changes happen insofar as what the area and how the government is working, and the government's actually selling the properties of the people, or the building or the land of the people, to developers to develop their properties, in promising that they're going to give 30% of the properties to, you know, the local tenant, and that's the type of promise that they're making. And then they're building a lot of places. Some of the parking areas that you see at the back of some of the areas, they're literally being built with flats and stuff like that. So some of the areas that, you know, that you see now, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you come back again, you are in a different world. That's how a lot of people feel coming from that. And when you say gentrification, how it's affecting, it has always affected gentrification. Gentrification happens a lot. I mean, Brixton, for example, you had, before the Caribbean community came in after the Windrush, and after the World War II, you did have the Jew community here. And the Jew community here, and from here they moved down to North London and Liverpool Street mainly, because they was dealing with silk, a lot with silk, and because of that, they moved there and then they was working on that. But one thing they were smart on was they was buying the properties while they're living. So most of the shops that you see on Atlantic Road, you know, it's actually it's been owned by a lot of Drew people. You see, so yes, they're left from here, but they still have the interest here. Does it make sense? So, and you have people that didn't invest in that. And when gentrification happens, it's just they're the first one that moves out. So there's a lot of black people that were pushed out from Brixton to outside London, a lot of places. So you have over 30,000 people between 2012 until 14. You have up to 40,000 people that moved out from Brixton.
Here, I'm at the Black Cultural Archives. Address 1 Windrush Square. This is pivotal right now to understanding history. The Black Cultural Archives remain a stoic remnant of when Black and the Afro-Caribbean community came post-Windrush era. Now, this is probably the only thing that we have left as we're being destroyed by gentrification. Gentrification seemingly is happening to every inner city area that is rich with history, and there's no area greater within southwest London than Brixton at the moment. So I'm going around Brixton right now. I see you guys sitting in the Black Cultural Archives, and I really want to find out, what does the term ghetto, gentrification and the city mean to you as the older generation, and where do you see Brixton in the future? How have you seen it in the past, and what is the present?
Right, well, if we pick up the Windrush experience where our parents came over, yes, and they had to evolve out of into something out of an existing colonial culture, yeah. We never thought of ourselves as ghetto. We had the positivity of the term where we said, get the know, yeah? And we had the get the go. We never used ghetto in any that word ghetto is a word that was imported onto us by other folks, because when we were saying, we used to have get the know, got the know, get the flow, you know, etc. It was a rhyme culture thing, just like you do the rap thing now. So, you know, from you get the know, you get the go. So in short, so that's where the ghetto thing came for us. That was the positivity of that. So when this negativity thing about the ghetto, we never lived in the ghetto.
In terms of, as your colleague was saying, he dissected the word ghetto and what my generation commonly associated with. What does ghetto and gentrification within this inner city of Brixton, you've grown up and you've lived a lot longer, you've known the experience, what does it mean to you?
Ghetto in that context, it means people that are on the outside of whatever is the happening or the movement. So it could be an economic movement, it could be a political movement. In other words, the people that cannot, there's called, you know, it's called political empowerment, any form of empowerment. These people, because of the conditionality that they've been placed in, they cannot economically compete, they cannot politically compete. That then forces them, or they cannot, you see, that's what I'm talking about. You've got to understand, that's the new speak of ghetto. Yeah? So if you ain't got no, you ain't gonna get the goal. And if you ain't got the goal, you ain't gonna float, which means you're not gonna swim, you're not gonna reach your destination.
My version of ghetto was that I did a lot of research on the Second World War, and Whitechapel was working in the Royal London Hospital, and when I used to see the Jews were always kept in confinement before we came. And in Germany, and you still got hotspots throughout Europe where non-Europeans were kept within these areas. Obviously, when we came, we were slotted in these areas, not knowing our story. So therefore, we absorbed and going back you guys, we anyway, we're the youths. We were growing up and realising and being told and being fed about the ghetto. You're a ghetto boy, but knowing the truth of what it's about, that it was a place where they kept the Jews in confinement, fed them what they wanted to feed. It was a knowledge thing for us as well, because that's what it's basically, a confinement where they can actually have you controlled. And by having you controlled, they can control everything about you. So by what they're doing, they're splitting us. The youth, that's what we were talking about earlier. I mean, I came from where they had Afro-Caribbean centres where you had your elders in one room and then you was in another area doing whatever you're doing, and then we come together and say, I used to get my granny or some elder to say, oh, what is that called again? Or certain words, an answer spider. We were lucky to get that,
We had that immediate connection.
We had that connection.
If you guys never came up and said to us today, for example, that's, we're doing this particular project and we'd like to have your contribution. We would be considered to be possibly what was called the two elders or the two old fogies or
the fogies.
Well, I'm not saying, but well, my point being here is that that in every generation there are what we call seekers. And because we want the truth seekers are the people who are not prepared to be the sheeps of the masses. So what I'm saying to you, brother, is don't get entrapped by words. If something isn't physically shackling you, if somebody uses a word like ghetto or gentrification or whatever it is, be like a Shakespeare. Use the word like a sword and turn it to your advantage. Look, they classify you declassify yourself.
Hence in the text. A captured person will never tell you the truth about yourself. They'll tell you edited information. It's edited and then it's presented accordingly. So going back to your case about ghetto, we've split out that now, we've burst out of it, we're not into that anymore. And we look at it and say, no, that's the Jews. Because we've got that strength of knowledge to say, no, that was because of the Second World War. Learn your history. Learn European history as well. Learn as much as you can. So it gives you that stance to argue your point effectively. Do your research properly and get your times properly and your dates properly. Don't just, I heard that man down the road say that, whatever. That's not going to work.
I'm with Jim right now, old school friend, went to Ernest Bevin, Southwest London, Tooting. I saw him actually right now. So what I wanted to do is find out from you, growing up, we always heard the word ghetto and we always knew Brixton was a dangerous place to go to. Or we always thought of it as a dangerous place. But what I wanted to find out now, does the ghetto term still apply? And what did you think growing up? And coming here now, seeing at the Black Cultural Archives, has your view on things changed and how do you see gentrification affecting our community?
I think, definitely growing up, Brixton had a reputation for as a no-go zone, unless I suppose if you were from there, then you would see it every day and you would know that it wasn't as bad as people made it out. But being from Streatham, which is next to it, and going to a school in Tooting, people coming from Brixton, they had a reputation. And especially when you're younger as well, you're not exposed to as many things. You only believe what you hear. But then growing up, being more cultured, being exposed to more different people, you realise that it's not what people made it out to be. But I do think that it has been gentrified a lot. If you look at the markets, it's completely different to what it was like back in the day. Like the shops that are there now, I think there's like a Tata.
Yeah. A lot of middle class establishments.
Exactly. Whereas before, I knew people coming from outside London, Bedford, just to get their hair products from Brixton. You know, like it was that sort of niche black area. But now it's very gentrified. Yeah.
Where do you see Brixton in the future? And where do you see Brixton in the future? Where would you like to see Brixton? And how do you see the community tackling this issue?
Well, I mean, Brixton, it's changed to some extent, but there are still the same people here. I feel like, well, obviously I don't live here, so I can't really speak for them, but some of the people who live here, for them it's become more uncomfortable because I'm sure like property prices would have gone up, like everything is just more expensive, so it's harder for them to live. And these are the same people who have made it what it is today, because it's the people who make the area. So I mean, like Brixton Splash, that's got a massive cultural impact. Like people from Tottenham, everywhere come down to celebrate, and that's because of the vibe that Brixton residents bring. So if you're kind of making them feel alienated in their own area, then it's not good. For me, looking from the outside though, I mean, I still do see the same people, and you know, like it doesn't seem that bad, like, but for being from the inside, it may be like a bit hard to live in. Yeah.
Do you believe gentrification and racism interlink and correlate?
I feel like everything happens in cycles. So how Brixton was years ago, decades ago, it was quite like a prominent area for actors. A lot of them were living here, and it wasn't so like diverse as it is today. So I mean, it would be a shame to lose like the diversity that it has now. But I do feel like if that was to come about, it will come back again. Like the cultural diversity will come back again. There's been a lot of people who have come from Brixton who have made a lot from themselves, not just rappers. Like just in every industry, a lot of people have come from Brixton. So regardless, it doesn't matter if people try to gentrify it now. You can't stop what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So to answer the question, there is a link with gentrification and racism, in the sense that the people with power, monetary power, political power, if they want to be in a certain area, they'll use like their industrial power to be in that area and shift out the little man. But because of the strength in culture that Brixton has and the people who have come from here, you just can't fully kill it off. You can't. So that's what I think.
I'm about to enter Brixton Village. It's a funny one, formerly called Brixton Market. I'm going to show you just how gentrification has changed this area. As you can see, Brixton, I keep referring to it as the market, but now it's a village. It's changed massively. Once upon a time ago, this used to be all a market. Now this has changed so much. It's unbelievable. So, as you see, this is fishmongers where they sell food and so on. Now, going from here, you're starting to see just how much has changed. So come with me. This was not here before. I think this was installed maybe about 2-3 years ago. Then also, restaurants like here and here. This was not here ages ago. But it's showing you that they're attracting a real middle class population. So in essence, this is seen as social cleansing, ethnic cleansing, because people that are not middle class can't really afford this sort of area, and they can't afford this sort of food. If someone's on a basic wage of, let's say, maybe £7, £8, how can you afford food that's £9? It all works in tandem. It's like an economic sort of structural racism. So yeah.
Wait. You
I've just taken you on a journey, a small little teaser, a small little spoiler on what I would like to do in the future. There needs to be more academic research done on areas like Brixton, which should become a hotbed for gentrification. As I've said to you, gentrification is a more insidious, covert form of racism. It's ethnic cleansing, it's social cleansing. As we see Brixton Village behind us, once formerly called Brixton Market, the culture is slowly being dissolved and it's slowly evaporating. In my belief, we cannot fully kill.
We're still there.
As you see, perfect, someone right there telling me.
We're still here.
As we see, someone's also passionate about what's happening. They said they can't kill us because we're still here. Is the culture really going to be killed? However, economically, systematically, they are being destroyed. I want to thank you for listening and I hope you enjoy.